Spring sports underway in the Seacoast. We're talking all about it on this edition of the Seacoast Sports Forum. I'm Sherm Chester, and along with Coach Bill Taylor, we made our annual spring pilgrimage to Exeter High School to meet up with some of the spring sports teams and their coaches during their practices. And we'll start off with Coach Bruce Joyce and the Bluehawk baseball team.
Fill us in on the prospects for this year's team.
Yeah. So far, I mean, we're looking pretty good. We've made our way through the tryouts. We got through that pretty well. This year's group on the varsity has got a pretty good mix of, some older guys and some younger guys. We got 4 sophomores on the roster this year, which is, maybe 1 or 2 more than we may have on any other year. A good group of juniors, and we're led by, all of our returning seniors, and there's 7 of those guys. So, so far in the early going, the pitching's look pretty good, and the early bullpens we've thrown. Defense looks very solid. Offense will be a work in progress. It always is, in the early going, but so far so good.
I was going to ask you a quick question about, I know a lot of these guys play multi-sports, but a lot of them go to these facilities like 603U, will just throw a name out there, to hone their skills all year long. Do you see an improvement of the skill of baseball play with these guys that do take that extra step?
I do, yeah. I mean, that's, we as the high school program really benefit from, others that are helping these guys out, and they're putting their time and effort in, in the fall and in the winter, and really right up to the time that we get started. So a lot of these guys, are coming in, basically ready to go. I mean, they've been training, for 3, 4, 5 months, before we even get started. So definitely helps us out, helps them out, and definitely you can see some vast improvements with the time and the work that those guys have put in.
And if some of these guys have something that, well, I hate to say a weakness, but something they need, whether it's with a bat or with a glove,
right?
You see that if they go to some academy like that or a facility like that it helps develop a little.
Yeah. A lot of guys will, there's something in their pitching mechanics, or maybe they're going to work on a breaking ball or something like that. As far as the pitcher's development is concerned, a lot of guys will do that. And hitting, again, working on mechanics and just getting a lot of reps. Some of these guys are in there, every night hitting, or 3 or 4 nights a week. So a lot of extra reps over the wintertime makes a big difference. Yeah. Plus the working out. A lot of guys are bigger, stronger, and that's a part of the the program too, whether it's at those facilities or on their own. So that work that they put in the off season really pays off.
I was going to say, back in the day, you'd show up and you wouldn't be getting many swings, and now kids are swinging quite often.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
They're getting all that hitting,
which
they need to do. Seeing breaking balls where all of a sudden, the second game of the year, somebody throws a lollipop curve and they're like, whoa.
That's right. Yeah. These guys, I mean, really the vast majority of them are really ahead of the game when we start in March. Yeah.
And being in New England, we see that Mother Nature plays tricks on us at the last second, especially when, April is creeping up on us.
Yeah.
And you want to get out there and play and practice. And sometimes, you have to do with what you got to field and condition, whatever it is.
Right.
That's why having those facilities helps out too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely gives them a jump start. And, we can only do what we can do inside. I think we've got a pretty good plan as to trying to get guys going in the early going, but we get outside and are able to do, our regular reps out here as early as possible.
Yeah, I noticed, what you were working on, situation baseball.
Yeah.
And, you have to adapt. That's something you can do. We used to work on pickoffs and all that stuff. And, I mean, you want to get something positive every day.
Right. Yeah. And just a little bunt defense we did, first and third defense. I mean, you can do that inside, outside, on a diamond, on a parking lot, whatever. I mean, that kind of stuff. But I mean, we've been we've had our team together since Wednesday. This is really our third day with the actual team together. And we've got some other reps in, but we're trying to get some team defense and things like that going early as well.
Who are the teams to beat this year in Division I besides Exeter?
Besides Exeter, it's I mean, everyone's kind of given the early nod to Londonderry. They should be a real strong team. I mean, they lost in the finals to Pinkerton last year with a young team, so they've got virtually everybody coming back. I'm sure Bedford will be strong. They look like they've got a pretty strong roster. The Seacoast teams, Portsmouth, we have to think that they'll be a strong team. Dover will be strong. I know we had a couple of rock fight games with Dover last year, and they'll be strong. Seacoast teams, when it comes to for us, it's a rivalry. We can't discount any of the Seacoast teams. So, but they're all strong. I mean, Division I, it's everybody's got horses on the mound. Everyone's got athletes.
Doesn't Pinkerton have that big, huge pitcher?
Yeah, he'll be back. Saw him playing basketball this summer. And, he's a horse. So I mean, there's a few favorites for sure, but you got to come to play every day in our league, and that's the way it should be.
We go from the baseball diamond to the softball diamond. And Coach Taylor got to interview the head coach of the defending state champion Exeter Bluehawk softball team and their head coach, Kristen Morrisette.
Coach Morrisette, I can remember talking to you last year, and you said we're the favorites to win the whole thing.
We were one of them last year, with Concord, Londonderry, Salem's always up there. We got hot at the right time. We put everything together, defense, pitching, hitting. We scored, you only need one to win. And in that championship game, we were able to push one across against a great Concord team who has just about everyone back this year as well. So.
Right. Now, I saw in reading the preview, you only graduated one.
We graduated 3 seniors. One started in that championship game. We did have 2 that were starters, but one of our starters got hurt in the quarterfinals, so she didn't start in the semi. So we had 2 starters, but only one in that championship game.
Your first baseman.
First baseman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was a big bat for us. So we gotta, everyone's got to step up to replace that bat in the lineup.
How about the younger crew coming up? Do you have a lot of positives coming up?
Yes, yeah. I mean, overall, our third team, our JV team, the varsity team, we got some great talent. We brought up 4 this year so far. Again, we had 10 returners, so that's only 9 positions out there, and again, 8 of them started in the championship game. So. We're excited about that, but we have some young girls that have joined us that bring some positives from defense. We got some speed, some bats that they'll look to get some time when we can and take advantage of that.
And your pitcher's back.
Yes. Kristen Beebe was the Gatorade Player of the Year last year. And I just did look at her stats. She was 15-1, so she did a majority of the pitching last year. We're hoping not to use her that much during the season to kind of keep her fresh at the end if we can, because we do have 4 pitchers on staff with Summer LeClaire, Edie Crawford, and Kristen Bickford, and they're just as capable. And sometimes it's our defense is better with a certain pitcher on the mound, so we got to just figure that out. It is still early, so we'll see. But yeah, we have a great pitching staff, and our catchers work well with the pitchers, so we're excited.
Teams to beat besides you and Concord?
Yeah, I would say Londonderry. They're always tough. Salem, always traditionally strong softball program. Wyndham, from what I hear, they had a very good catcher last year that was a Player of the Year in Division I that was a freshman, and I hear they have a pitcher this year, so I think they'll be tough. But really, you're the defending champs. Every game is going to be tough because they're looking to bring their best against you, and we haven't been out on a field. We're outside today, but we're not really on the infield. So we could be behind a little bit come April 10th. Hopefully not with all the returners. But again, we're just glad to be out here on a field.
Now, you open with Timberlane
We open with Timberlane on the 10th at home,
and then go to North.
and then go to North,
Yeah.
South, I think. Go to South.
Oh,
Nashua.
okay.
We're going to Nashua.
You're going to Nashville.
Yep.
There you go. You can't go wrong.
Correct.
Well, belated congratulations on last year. And, we hope when we talk to you next year that we can say the two-time defending state champion.
We would like that. We didn't have that chance when we
No.
with our first state championship in 2019. We didn't have that chance
COVID took care of that.
to repeat, and
Yeah.
it's kind of a similar situation because we had so many returners in 2020 as well. So it's an exciting time, but we got to work. It's a new season, and we'll see what happens.
Next up, we go to the track to interview Exeter coach Nate Lavaille.
Track and field is probably number-wise one of the most successful sports in Exeter High School. I mean, you guys just have tremendous numbers.
Yeah, we have, and finally our numbers are starting to come back post-COVID, which is great. I think we're probably around 130 combined.
Yeah.
I believe this is the largest boys team we've had since Laura and I started coaching together. I think we're around 80 boys. So
Wow.
a lot of talent on both sides. We're excited.
Strong athletes are in which events?
So we have Michael Detour, who
Okay.
was injured last year, but is the defending champ in the triple jump and long jump as a sophomore. So we're looking for him as a senior to be one of our big point scorers. We have a very experienced distance crew on the boys' side as well that we returned from this winter, and then we've added some new athletes from other sports that are trying out track for the first time that we're a little excited about. On the girls' side, we graduated a lot of points. We did. We graduated, Sid Lavelle's at D1 Quinnipiac. We graduated 30 or 40 points on our championship team on the girls' side, but we return a lot of point scorers. Rachel Poulin, Raina Thompson.
Gregory.
Yep, Meadow
Yeah.
Gregory, Runa in the throws. And then we have a number of kids that are ready to step up and potentially score this year. They've all been working hard, and I like our younger group. I'm excited about them.
Good. Track, they got to dress warm. This is, these conditions are difficult for athletes in all sports. Maybe not so much in lacrosse because of the constant movement.
Right.
But where you do an event and then you have to wait around for X amount of minutes until you go again. I mean, that's hard on an athlete's body.
Yeah, and I mean, we've all been there. Sometimes we don't. High school athletes, for sure, we struggle to warm up sometimes properly. So that's a learning curve. Certainly when the weather gets warmer, it's a lot easier to get prepared for your race. And that's when you really start to see the fast sprint times. Distance kids would probably prefer this temperature. But yeah, you're right. And this time of year is crazy. You can come to practice one day in a t-shirt, and the next day you're wearing a snowsuit, you know.
So the big events are usually you have a big Seacoast track meet.
Yep.
I know all events are important.
Yep.
Because you need to qualify. And maybe you could explain that to our listeners. Like, everybody doesn't get to run in the state meet.
No, so this year it's at Salem High School divisionals, and the top 18 times throughout all the D1 schools will qualify for an event. And an athlete can run up to 4 events at the divisional meet. Recently, with our success, especially on the girls' side, we kind of try to peak for the Division I meet. That's our goal, is to win the state championship or be in the picture every year. Same thing on the boys' side. There's other years where we might put a little bit of focus on the Seacoast meet because, we host it and we like to win that too. But we wouldn't burn out, say, a distance kid at the Seacoast meet with the state meet being the following weekend. So our focus is always on the Division I championships, and that's what we gear towards.
We rounded out our day of spring practices at the tennis courts. And first, the coach, Bill Taylor, interviewed the girls' head coach, Jeff Simard.
Numbers look good. How is the talent?
Talent's great, to be honest. We've got a few returning players, and we've got some new ones that are freshmen that have obviously been playing for some time. So it'll be good to get them out on match play and see how they perform under a little bit of pressure. But overall, they've been a great team to be coaching.
Good.
Yeah.
When do you open?
Wednesday. I know, right?
Gee, why don't they give you a day or two
I know.
before the season? So you open Wednesday.
Yeah.
So okay. Well, we hope for good weather, for sure.
I do hope for good weather.
Now, sometimes I see some places, some schools will, in case of inclement weather, will play at an indoor facility.
Yeah, we haven't run into that. I know like Hanover does that
Yeah.
occasionally. I think for us, I'll just push it to another day. You know, there are times later in the season when we have a game and a game and a game.
Could you explain the ladder to
Absolutely.
our listeners here?
So basically, we have, let's say, 12 players on our varsity team, and the ladder is basically by skill and ability. So the number one player essentially can beat everybody below her. The number two player can beat everybody below her but the number one, and so on and so forth. It actually makes my job easier because if you beat the person in front of you, then you get to be that position. And then, of course, your goal is to beat the person that is on the opposing team with the same, level.
So if you're number 6,
Yep.
because the first 6 singles, correct?
Yes.
And then 3 sets of doubles.
Yes.
So if you're number 6 and you think you're as good or better than number 5, you challenge, and if you
You can
win,
move up, yep.
you move up,
Yep.
and if you don't,
You stay where you are.
stay where you are.
Yep. And then those that are not on the top 6, if they work their way up, they can move into the top 6 as well. So it works for the benefit of the team.
Yeah. And like you said, it does make you can't be accused of playing favorites.
Exactly. Right? They did a good day.
How do you deal with the weather conditions? Especially on a match day. Let's say today was a match
Match day? Yeah, I mean, with weather like this, more top spin on the ball to make sure that it's staying lower, because if you slice it, it'll float off into Never Never Land. Just remind the girls that their opponent is playing in the same weather as they are, so there's no unfair advantage, and to not worry about it. It's just this weather. The weather outside is weather.
Right.
Yeah.
Teams to beat in Division 1 besides Exeter.
Bedford. I would love to beat Bedford. Let's see. Manchester Central. They're strong. Pinkerton.
Is Manchester Central traditionally a strong tennis?
They have been.
They have been.
In the girls' side. I'm not sure about the boys' side, but I know for girls, they knocked us out in the quarterfinals last year.
In the courts next door, we caught up with the boys tennis coach, Justin Tardiff.
Yeah, Charlie Gaughan will likely be our number 1. He was our number 1 last year. Real good player. I think he can do, real well for us at number 1 and hopefully make a run in the singles tournament too, individually. We have Dom Theos, who's also another senior. He played well for us last year. So we have 4 guys back from our lineup last year, which is good. So that's pretty decent experience. And then hopefully we can fill in a couple more guys to fill in that 5 and 6 spot this season.
Do you find, is your group very competitive as to who plays? The ladder?
Yeah, the ladder's very competitive. It's very competitive. Everyone's always asking, where are they in the lineup and stuff like that. I anticipate as we head into challenge matches next week and the following week, we're going to have very competitive matches.
Right.
And we're fairly deep, so we'll actually have, for some of these guys, the challenge matches will be even more tougher than actually an opponent that they may play
Wow.
in terms of matchups.
Now, our Division 1 schools, are they pretty strong 1 through 6? Or is at the lower you get down to the ladder?
Yeah, I would say typically at the D1 level, you're talking the 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Pretty solid, real good tennis players, have played in the off season, have taken lessons since they've been, in first and second grade. And then I would say when you move to the 4, 5, and 6, even at the D1 level, you can have some guys that haven't played a lot. As long as you're a good athlete, good hand-eye coordination, and you're real competitive, those are the 3 key components of winning at the 4, 5, and 6s. Oftentimes at the 4, 5, and 6, it's get the ball in, don't make the mistake, and make the other guy make the mistake.
I have one quick question for you. It's about, there's a lot of different training now going on in all the sports, and the equipment is always advancing. Do you see that in tennis as well?
Yeah, I would say definitely the equipment, you know, in terms of new rackets, more power. It's always the biggest thing in terms of some of these things, some of the rackets that these kids have. The racket head side is huge, and they're really putting a lot of power on that ball. So we definitely see that with the racket technology, always improving, and, you know, we'll continue to improve.
And again, the facilities that these guys train in, like you said, over the years, just it keeps building a better quality of player.
Yes, definitely changes the game in terms of the pace of the ball and that component, which really adds to it. And it also changes some of the mental approach to the game as well, with the ball coming in a lot faster.
A busy day at Exeter High School and a field trip that the Forum looks forward to every year. Thanks to all the coaches we got together with today for their time, and good luck to all the high school student athletes this year. We look forward to a very successful spring season ahead. And don't forget to check out the Seacoast Sports Forum podcast. It's available weekly on all major podcast platforms. And make sure you like us and subscribe so you can get the newest episodes. And if you already listen, pass the word. So for Coach Bill Taylor, I'm Sherm Chester, inviting you to join us for the next edition of the Seacoast Sports Forum. You can listen to the Seacoast Sports Forum on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to watch the episodes of the Seacoast Sports Forum on our Seacoast Sports Forum YouTube page. And when you're there, hit the bell to subscribe and like us. And if you have any sports photos or game videos you'd like to send us, or comments, seacoastsportsforum@yahoo.com. This is Sherm Chester inviting you to join us for the next edition of the Seacoast Sports Forum.